Good morning, boys and girls. Today we're going to find out everything that happens in the book because we are on our last two chapters. Now, let's see what happened yesterday. Ragweed made a major decision. He's decided he's going to stay in Amperville and make a life there. But then he also heard Blinker tell Clutch that he loved her. And so at that point, Ragweed kind of went off the deep end and he grabbed and yelled to all the other mice, "Don't run, don't be afraid, we're gonna go get those cats." And he took off. But he doesn't even know whether anybody's coming with him or not. So he could be all by himself. We'll have to see. Chapter 26, In the Basement. In the sewer pipe, just beyond the bookstore, Silversides and Graybar conferred in whispers. "I'm sure we have them surprised," Silverside said. "That's the most important thing. They've posted only one guard and he's asleep. I say we go fast, leap in, and deal with him. It shouldn't be hard. Once we're in the basement, we can get up those steps easily. You head for the bolt hole on the top floor and block that. I'll block the front entrance. That way, we'll trap them all." "Sounds good to me," Graybar said. "Remember," Silverside said, "felines first. Now follow me." With that, she headed farther into the sewer pipe. Within moments, she poked her head out of the pipe and into the basement. To her surprise, she saw no one. The post had been abandoned. Silversides turned around. "The one guard is gone." "Those stupid mice. Follow me." With that, the white cat pushed forward, reached the end of the pipe, and jumped into the basement. The instant she landed, she couched down and looked towards the steps again. No one was there. She went under the pipe and called up, "All clear, get in fast." Graybar landed softly. Side by side on the basement floor, the cats looked around and sniffed. Suddenly, Graybar said, "What happened to the music?" "What music?" Silversides demanded. "The mouse music." Both cats lifted their heads and listened. There was nothing but silence. Silversides felt a tremor of uneasiness. She pushed it aside. "Follow me," she said, and padded quietly toward the steps. Graybar, looking around nervously, came a little way behind. At the foot of the steps, Silverside paused. "When we get to the top, plunge in, grab who you can, and put an end to their miserable lives. Just don't forget the two I want, the golden mouse and the one with green hair. Understood?" "Sure, Silversides, I know all about that. Now let's get going." "Felines first," Silversides muttered again and began climbing the steps. She paused to listen and sniff again. Through the smell, although the smell of mouse was almost overpowering, she still heard nothing. She continued to move up until she reached the last riser. Once there, she lifted her head and found herself staring directly into the bright brass nozzle of a water hose. Surrounding it, holding on to it, aiming it right at her, was a horde of mice. In front of them stood Ragweed. The moment Silversides lifted her head, Ragweed shouted, "Blaster!" The 100 or so mice who were clinging to the valve wheel turned it. Instantly, water surged through the old canvas hose and shot out the nozzle. It was all the mice could do to hold on and keep it steady, but their aim was true. A blast of water as powerful as a cannon struck Silversides squarely in the face. It came with such surprise and force that it flung her head over heels back down the steps, and she tumbled into Graybar, knocking him down too. When the cats reached the bottom, they shook their heads and soggy bodies and tried to regroup. "At them!" Silversides howled to rally her command. Ragweed was ready at the top step. "Drag the hose forward," he ordered. The mice hauled the gushing hose with shouts of "Heave, heave, heave." And there is the hose aimed straight at Silversides. It's no wonder it knocked her down the steps. Okay. The stream of water was now aimed down at the already stunned cats. Once again, they were struck hard. Graybar attempted to climb the steps. He managed to gain 2 before the hose was aimed right at him. With a whoosh, he was washed to the very bottom again. Now Silversides, soggy, with watery eyes awash, tried a new attack. She met the same watery barrage as did Graybar, with the same results. As the water continued to pour forth, the basement began to fill with water. The cats found themselves slipping, sliding, and floundering in the resulting mud. It was impossible to stand. "Forward," Ragweed commanded. The mice began to drag the hose down the steps, the nozzle aimed first at Silversides, then at Graybar. 3 times the cats attempted to climb the steps. 3 times they were hosed back by the powerful flow of water. Graybar bolted up to his belly in cold water. He half scrambled, half swam to the open sewer pipe and crawled in. With wet fur plastered to his body, he was little more than skin and bones. He did not even look back to see if Silversides was coming with him. Silversides tried yet another attack. With the hose still gushing, the water level in the basement rose quickly. The cat had nothing solid to stand on. The water began to drain into the sewer pipe. As it did, it flushed away everything in the room. That included Silversides. The last the mice saw of Silversides was her bewildered face, filled with rage and indignation as she flowed backward out of the basement and into the sewer pipe. She left nothing but her sequined collar, which soon followed her into the pipe. For moments afterward, the mice kept the hose aimed at the sewer pipe, wanting to be certain the cats did not return. Finally, it was a triumph Ragweed who cried, "Hey, dudes, time to celebrate." Well, that was a great victory. I'm proud of the little mice. They did good. Chapter 27, A Goodbye. 3 days later, Ragweed stood by the Amperville railroad tracks, waiting for a train to arrive. With him were Clutch and Blinker. Far off in the distance, they heard the sound of the approaching train whistle. Clutch was saying to Ragweed, like, there's no reason you have to go. Blinker and I would really like it if you'd hang around. Ragweed smiled gamely. Hey, dude, it's a big world out there, and I'm one small mouse. Like, there's a lot to see. Know what I'm saying? Anyway, one of these days I'll come back. Then I can visit you guys. Teach your kids a trick or two. Check it out, Blinker said with a shy grin. Anyone see Silversides or Graybar yet? Clutch grinned. As far as they can tell, like, left town. Someone said they took a train. All I know is they're gone. Totally sunk. Killer sweet, Ragweed agreed as the sound of the train whistle grew quite loud. Only now it's my turn. Dude, Clutch said, becoming serious, I just want to say you are one awesome mouse. Like, you've done it all. You may be a country mouse, but you're way world class out of here. In fact, everyone connected with the club agreed we should change the name. From now on, it's Club Ragweed. Awesome, dude, returned Ragweed, grinning broadly. And just to show you how Blinker and I feel, Clutch said, we've got a present for you. She reached up and removed her purple plastic earring. She held it out so that the bead dangled from her paws. We'd sort of like to give this to you, dude. If you want it, that is. Ragweed took the earring gently. He was deeply moved. When you wear it, Ragweed, think of us and dance, Blinker suggested. Like long as you wear it, Clutch added, you'll never back down to any bully. I hear you, Ragweed said. Want me to put it on, dude? Clutch asked. Be way cool. Clutch fixed the earring to Ragweed's left ear. Glad you came, dude. She gave the same ear a muzzle as she added, dude, you totally buttered the muffin. Blinker nuzzled his other ear. The next moment, all three mice embraced. The train came slowly into view, headlights flashing, bells ringing, whistles sounding. Its arrival ended with a loud bang. Do you know where you're going? Blinker asked. Hey, Ragweed said. I've seen the city. Time to explore the forest. With that, he scampered up the coupling hose, moved along a boxcar gutter, and slipped inside. Once settled, he looked out. Side by side, Blinker and Clutch were looking up at him. The train lurched forward. Fighting tears, Ragweed waved goodbye with one paw, touching his new earring with the other. Hey, dude, Clutch cried, don't forget. Forget what? Ragweed shouted back. A mouse has to do what a mouse has to do, Clutch called. Know what I'm saying? Yo, baby, Ragweed shouted back, like I do. With a great shriek, the train gathered speed. Clutch and Blinker watched Ragweed go. Then paw in paw, they headed for home. Ragweed turned away at last and stared glumly at the passing world through the open door of the boxcar. Now and again he touched his new earring, but when the train whistle blew its mournful tune, he found it impossible not to break into song. A mouse will go a-roving, go along wooded paths and pebbled ways, to places high and places low, where birds do sing 'neath sunny rays. For the world is full of mice, oh, the world is full of mice, oh. Then Ragweed cupped his paws around his mouth, and with all his strength shouted, "Dimwood Forest, here I come." The end. Well, let's see, when you were picking your favorite characters, if you picked Blinker, he got the girl, so that's pretty good. If you picked Ragweed, he had a great adventure, and now he's on for a new adventure. I kind of liked Clutch because she's kind of a hippie mouse from back in the 60s, and I remember the 60s, so I can make a connection. Plus, she lived in a Ford Mustang, and I used to drive a Ford Mustang when I was in high school. So I had all kinds of connections with her, so she was probably my favorite character. The one thing that I think would be fun to do tonight, and we haven't talked about that when we were reading this time, but is something that we should keep in mind when we're reading, and that is when something exciting or fun or sad or dangerous is happening, we should remember to visualize what's going on. We can close our eyes and picture what's happening, and that way we can understand it better. So I'm going to sit down tonight and I'm going to draw and really sketch, because I'm not much of a drawer. I'm not like our art teacher. But I'm going to sketch a picture of what I thought was the neatest thing in the book. And you sit down and close your eyes and visualize your picture of what you liked best, or maybe it was something you really didn't like, so you had to visualize it to understand what was going on. But draw that picture, share it with your teachers, and then they'll be able to share it with me. I will bring my picture tomorrow, and I'll just show it to you. And that way you'll see what I thought was the neatest part. Now, remember, this is a series, and a series means it has more than one book. There's actually 5 books in this series. We're going to go on to the next one, and it actually says something about the new book here. And it says, "Can a tiny deer mouse outwit her biggest enemy? Read Poppy, the second of the Poppy stories, and find out." So we're going to go on to our adventure further. It said we were going to Dimwood Forest, which, let's go back and look at our map. Here we are in the city, and way up here it says to the woodlands and Dimwood Forest. So our next adventure will be up here. I'm actually hoping that it's going to be warm enough to move our reading outside, because when we're in the forest, I think it'd be cool if we could hear a bird in the background or an outside noise. So tomorrow we will start our new book. Actually, Poppy is my favorite book. It's actually an award-winning book. So I will see you tomorrow, and we will begin a new adventure.